come in very late in a consultation, which is bound to end on the 9th of April. And I'm just wondering what can be done to compensate for the fact that Oxfordshire Trust does not, or CCGs do not seem to have bothered to deal with the very people that use the Horton, and I was one of them recently, living in one of those postcode areas. But the point of issue is, you know, I had a small procedure done before Christmas, but the thing is, the issue is that we seem to be in a void. We seem to have a trust which services, however the expense that Jill described is met and however it's funded, is immaterial. But I think for such a vast proportion of the population that deals with otherwise a North Oxfordshire thing, is I think perhaps we ought to be able to make some effort to seek some compensation. Why isn't there a meeting in one of our postcode areas, and why isn't there some issue of us influencing the outcomes?
The point is well made, Chris. Have we strayed? No. Thank you.
You're giving me a hard time, aren't you?
I'm very conscious of the issues. Chris?
I think the point goes further than that, Mr. Chairman. Firstly, I'm concerned about the rebuttal of Councillor Six, concerned about a twin consultation process, because at the end of the day we are going to have a post-consultation solution, moving from a pre-consultation solution. What residents, whether they be in an OX or a CV postcode, need to know is what is the proposal at the end of the for the new medical services picture, and to go halfway down the course on acute services, because we need to now, and we've already closed, I think, 100 and something, 140 odd hospital beds without consultation. To then suggest, well, let's get the first half put away, and then we can bring on the rest of the bad news in a little bit of consultation, because that's where we're at. So I do have a problem with that, and I would like a response on that. But going on to Councillor Saint's point about the lack of consultation, at the meeting in Bamburgh on the 26th of January, this point was raised, and the panel, some of whom are sitting over there, said we will be consulting with residents outside the immediate county boundary. And I actually belong to a GP practice, one of which has a surgery in Oxfordshire, one of which has a surgery in Warwickshire. Now, to me, if that's not a cross-border practice, I'm not quite sure what is. But as a patient of that practice, and I'm a registered patient, as is the rest of my family, and most of my parish councils which I attend, are members of that practice, none of them have heard a dicky bird from the old CCG about these proposals. They're aware of it through PR carried out by those concerned residents over the border. Why has that commitment made in January about cross-border consultation not been made? Because, quite frankly, if you're going to make a commitment in public, you need to follow it through. If you're not going to make a commitment in public, you haven't got that onus. But as Councillor said, there are significant numbers of residents, and if I go through nearby surgeries, Fenny-Compton, 10 miles to Horton, 16 miles to Warwick. Tyso, 11 miles to Horton, 18 miles to Warwick. Shipston-on-Stour, 15 miles to Horton, 18 miles to Warwick. I couldn't find any other surgeries, but I think that covers most of those within what you might call the border region. Why have those patients of those GP surgeries not been contacted about the proposed changes. One final question, and we'll talk about the timescale of this. 3 weeks before the end of the consultation, I think 90 odd appendices to the STP were published as part of the consultation process, with considerable amounts of detail, which would enable residents to make a more confirmed, a more informed challenge, if they so wish, to the plans. To start a consultation and only provide a 43-page document, and then provide all the underlying documents some 2.5 months later in the consultation period, is a very strange way to consult. To me, the normal process is to put the information out in public, and that's what most public authorities do. If you make an amendment to it, then you have to consider how you deal with that in terms of the timescale of the consultation. But just to chuck out some 200 odd pages of detailed information 3 weeks before the end of the consultation is not acceptable. I'd like a comment on that.
Can you comment on that, please?
Okay, I've got quite a list there of different questions. Time taken to get to Oxford tonight. There is a considerable time that's taken. We're looking 45 minutes if we don't have any of the other problems that we know can happen. If we're talking about ambulance journeys, we need to add around 90 minutes for ambulances to arrive. The 8 minutes in obviously a life-threatening situation, which we have some of the best performance from our own ambulance trust. We're not saying that the travel times are as short as we like them to be. However, what we are saying is if you're going to get an outcome for stroke or critical care, it is better to make that journey, make that travel. You will get a better outcome, and the evidence backs that up very clearly, than if we ask people to be nursed or managed or doctored in a situation where there's either not a doctor there, or actually the person that's there has not had the experience of the number of episodes that need to get the best knowledge and clinical care at that point in time. There is so much we can do in medicine, and you've got to apply the best.
I'd just add to that. So in terms of the acute stroke patients, those that are within the 4-hour window are already being taken either to Coventry or to the John Radcliffe. That change in clinical practice has already come in. The patients we are talking about are, in total is about 120, so from your patch, it's probably about 1 a month, who are outside that 4-hour window, but who are still being taken to the Horton, because it's still operating as an acute, not a hyperacute, because it hasn't got all the scanning facilities, the backup, the interventional radiology that's needed to do some of the procedures that were described on the video. So these are our residual 120 patients, as I say, about 1 a month from your area, from your county, who are outside the 4-hour window, so won't benefit from some of that immediate specialist care, but who are being taken to the Horton, rather to a hyperacute stroke unit, where they may be outside the window for some of that immediate intervention, but nevertheless would benefit from being at a hyperacute stroke unit that have got specialist teams available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which is not the case at the Horton. So we're talking about 1 patient a month who will benefit from going to a hyperacute stroke unit rather than to the an acute unit at the Horton. And it's very similar to the pattern that's been followed with heart attacks, where originally you were taken to your closest district general hospital. That's no longer the case now. You're taken to the nearest specialist cardiac centre, bypassing your local district general hospital. So again, you can have a stent put in there and then, primary PCI it's called. It's the same as major trauma centres. If you're a major trauma now, you do not get taken to your local district general hospital. You get taken, in your case, if you're closer, if you're not that close to Oxford in your patch, you'll get taken to Coventry and Warwick, UCW, and if you're in closer to Oxford, you'll go to the John Radcliffe.
Can I just interject there? Because if what we're actually saying is that for an awful lot of very serious conditions, there are going to be fewer and fewer nationally hospitals that can actually cope with these, then in a sense the kind of border issues become even more significant, do they not? Because the distances between them will get greater. is that being tackled?
So it's being tackled by ambulance services becoming much more skilled at the triage and at the transfer. But again, I stress that whilst that is one strand for one set of services, you've heard for the other set of services, more can be done locally. So we're talking in terms of the numbers here, and this is the whole numbers, not just the oil patch, 120 stroke and critical care patients a year going one way, 90,000 patients going the other.
Can I just pick up on something you said there? So that there is somebody's had a stroke or is it really serious heart attack. Who makes the decision where to take them?
The ambulance.
The ambulance does.
Yes, and increasingly with support from the specialist centres. So now, technology has moved on, so now we've got a position where the ambulances can do a heart trace, they can send that into a specialist centre, and the specialist centre can read that instantaneously and give advice back. So, we're moving into a situation where the ambulances are better trained and they have better access to specialist advice at the specialist centres.
Okay, so basically speaking then, I'm just trying to bottom this one. The ambulance makes the decision where to take them, and do they always take them to the nearest?
Yes.
Serious one?
Yes.
They do?
Yes.
Fine.
Unless they've got some other information that says that a particular unit is only
Okay.
run.
Thank you.
Just following on from the ambulance.
So,
Ward member Flawson. You did talk about cutting beds, is that right? Well, nursing patients and treating them in their own home is only as good as your community care. And who's responsible for giving this? Before discharging the patient from hospital, do you inform the GPs as well as the community care team?
You're absolutely right, and one of the absolute thing that we're aiming at in relation to the changes we want to make about the beds is to have that emphasis on the community. And as I say, as a direct result, now obviously this is an Oxfordshire phenomenon, but as a direct result of what we've been doing around not using so many beds, is that we've invested in the services that go into the community. In our case, that's been in care homes, and also putting rehabilitation support into care homes, and also acute hospital at home work. There is a multidisciplinary decision about a discharge, and where the GP needs to be involved, they will be communicated with in advance, but otherwise they'll get the discharge summary when someone's being taken home. But you put your finger on exactly the biggest issue that we are always wrestling with, which is the level of community care support we have. However, sadly, I remain very resolute about the fact the way we have the model of care at the moment, and even now we still have over 100 people, 150, I think 150 somewhere at the last count, of people who are fit to leave hospital, who we know are not doing well by staying where they are. So just like stroke, if we change the model of care in the pathway, we'll get better outcomes, people will stay less time, they'll be less disabled, more likely to have a good outcome. Equally, if we change the way we use beds and we don't allow people to languish in beds and become dependent in the way you heard about the dependencies that evolve, we would need less community care overall with the better outcomes. So they are absolutely the right questions to ask. We are not complacent we've got it right. We also know that by using beds to keep people in for the wrong reasons, we make it worse for the patient and we make it worse for the amount of services we need in the community as well.
it's my fault I interjected, but the questions that Chris asked, and actually picks up what Chris Saint also said, it's about the kind of consultation with the areas in CV and the 116 extra pages of information that was circulated.
230 plus.
230 plus. Could you comment on that, please?
Okay, so yeah, there was a series of other questions that didn't get answered. So when will things be determined? So the consultation finishes on the 6th of April, and then we will be discussing consultations. I would, repeat the guarantee that we won't be making any decisions around things in phase 1 that would affect anything in phase 2. We'll make sure those two things are not interplaying. In relation to the question about consultation in your area, we have done leaflet drops in South Warwickshire. We have been sending information out. I think we will need to take back the fact that clearly you feel we haven't, so we will need to kind of offer you whatever evidence we can. But for as far as we're concerned, we have been putting leaflets into people's houses, and there has been information flowing in the local area.
Mr. Chairman, can I just comment on that? My parishes are on the boundary. Could you tell me which parishes outside Oxfordshire have been circulated? Because the evidence I have from my people attending my parishes, and OCCG's consultation has been on every agenda, nobody has yet said they have received notification of or any information about this, just as we've only received this today. They haven't received anything. So please will you provide us afterwards, if I may, with details of what villages have been letter dropped and how many letter drops in each village.
We can follow up that.
Just a point. Presumably, it's chairman's discretion whether members of the public can speak or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Lady right at the back.
Hi, I'm Val Ingram and I come from Save the Horn.
Can you come to a microphone?
Yeah,
please?
okay.
Hi, can you hear me? I'm Val Ingram. I've come from Chichester Parish Council and I've been to most of the consultation meetings that we've held in Banbury and around. There's several points I'd like to make. First of all, with the stroke care, we've been to several meetings where we have decided that is the best outcome. I can't believe I'm defending the OCCG and the Trust, but we have decided that's the best outcome. Our concern lies with the fact that maternity services has a dramatic impact on the actual outcome of this consultation, because we know that if consultant-led maternity care goes from the Horton, it takes a key role, which is a 24 on-call in-house consultant anaesthetist, which then has a domino effect. If that post particularly goes, then it means that there's the effect on paediatrics and other acute services, including ultimately A&E. I know that might be in the second part of the consultation, but we have to establish the fact that this will have a dramatic effect on that. We don't support the split consultation. We think it's really bad. Some beds have actually been removed on a temporary basis. At the HOSC meeting in Oxford, they asked them to consult if these measures were going to be continued. And what we're appalled at is the fact that, okay, the consultation should take on major considerations, but it shouldn't actually be having other things thrown into it. And we do agree, or the committee agree rather, that a very poor attempt has been made to recruit doctors. And this is a key thing for us. We've actually got some doctors that were lined up. We never know what the outcome of those meetings are because they won't let an independent doctor sit in on them. We might probably take, but transport is our major issue. On the Oxfordshire-Warwickshire, there's no bus service. The trains from Brackley, which also, okay, it's not Warwickshire, but it's also a consideration, stop. There just is no transport to the JR.
Just to respond to those. The concern was expressed that if you take out obstetrics, that you lose the resident on-call consultant for anaesthetics. In October, we had to take emergency temporary action to stop obstetrics at the Horton because we couldn't recruit. The resident on-call anaesthetic rota is still there, and we've got no intention at the present of changing it at all. So it shows that you can still retain that.
So can I just be clear, so that temporary position is now gone and it's reverted to what it was before?
No, so we still can't recruit doctors, so we are still running a midwifery-led unit, and we are working very hard, and I'll perhaps come on to the recruitment issue. But it has not meant that we've had to withdraw the resident on-call anaesthetic rotor. That is still there and still operating.
With due respect though, you're not guaranteeing that, and neither are you guaranteeing the ambulance that stood outside the LRU at the moment, and that is in the second part of the consultation. You need an overall picture to be able to do this. Of the 44 footprints that are across the country for these SCPs, we are the only one that is having a split consultation, which to me, we were the last to be published as well, seems very odd. And I know you've neatly avoided answering the appendices, Mrs. Hedges, but that is quite an important factor. You know, we can't have a proper business case or look at this properly if we don't have all the information. So I think that your consultation is dramatically flawed.
So can I respond to the other question?
Yeah.
So
Not only that, can you explain exactly what having an anaesthetist on call, exactly what the impact and implications of that is? Because if it's not reverted to the original position, then what kind of service does that on call provide?
Sorry, what I'm saying is the anaesthetic provision has not changed at all, even though we've had to change the maternity provision. So even though maternity, Val stated that because obstetrics were discontinued, and the proposal is that they should be discontinued, that would mean we would lose the on-call resident anaesthetic rota. I'm saying we can demonstrably show that that's not the case, because we stopped doing obstetrics in October, and we have still got the resident on-call anaesthetic rota. So the two aren't interdependent. You can have one without the other, and indeed we have had since October. So
Will they remain though? That's the question. Will they remain even as
we will guarantee that if as a result of the second consultation, accident and emergency services are retained, we will provide whatever anaesthetic service is needed to support that. So that's the first issue. The second issue in terms of recruitment, we have worked incredibly hard. We lost, as Diane says, training recognition in 2012. So from 2013, none of the posts, the middle grade posts, upper Horton, for obstetrics, have training recognition. We managed, working very closely with our university colleagues, to create a hybrid rota where the doctors were doing in part clinical work and in part research work. And I'm quite proud of the fact that we kept that going for a good number of years while services around us changed. So they've changed in Gloucestershire, they've changed in Buckinghamshire, they've changed in Berkshire. We've been looking at other places in the country for inspiration about how we could do this. Friarage is a hospital up in the north of the country that has similar distances. They've had to change to exactly the same model as we're proposing. The Horton is now the fourth or fifth smallest unit in the country. We have worked hard since it became obvious that we were not able to recruit to try and make the jobs more attractive. We've added a premium onto the posts. We are paying for any visa requirements. We're paying for any requirements that doctors from abroad need to learn English language. We are recruiting internationally. So we're working incredibly hard to try and recruit. The fact of the matter is that the Deanery withdrew the post because there were so few births that they were not deemed to be attractive or capable of training doctors who could come out of that training confident and safe to provide the care that you would expect from a consultant obstetrician. So we have to do that. At the moment, in our patch, 25%, 1 in 4 of training posts, let alone non-training posts such as ours, are vacant because there are not the doctors available. So even places that have got training recognition are struggling to recruit. And so it is in that environment we have reluctantly had to take the temporary emergency measures that we have. And because we don't see the ability to change that, it is a national problem that impacts small hospitals the quickest and the most severely, that the proposals are being put forward to make the current arrangements permanent.
Okay. Jackie, Peter, Chris and Chris.
I acknowledge the difficulties of line Deanery and colleagues at the councils have got things in hand overlap. Can I just take it back? Sorry about the cross-border, the ambulance. I have no problem with the changes of the pathways for stroke, etc. Southern Ambulance Service and their performance, which seems to be exceptional, and I wish it was known across the area. Now, I appreciate the distance from the Horton down to the JR. Now, I understand the Southern Ambulance Service will take that. How much does the East Midlands Ambulance Service, the MAS or West Mids, come into that area? Do they pick any patients? Will that impact on timelines at all? Because they've got to travel in and pick up. It's not just the timeline from getting the patient to the hospital, it's getting the ambulance to the patient. It seems to be the main issue. Can you reassure me around that? Now, I know Southern seem to have a good performance, but the rest of the services do not.
I think that's a very good point, Jack, and I think that's something we'll have to, the CCG, both the local CCG and Oxford CCG, will want to reassure themselves of. We did hear from Southern, the people from the South Central Ambulance Service at that presentation that we played that early in the week, about how they work very closely together, so that if there are border patients, there is an instant communication as to which service has got the closest ambulance.
That's correct.
So I think what
But
we need.
sometimes they don't always choose, do they? And that's because, not at Southern, but probably because of the East Midlands and the West Midlands Ambulance Service and constraints on that. And things are getting tighter and tighter all the time. So I do request that this be closely looked at because I think it's an issue.
That's right, we can make that commitment. What we need to do is get some help in terms of kind of getting the information shared, because some of it we obviously don't have access to.
Because if this goes that way, we need to make sure the infrastructure's in place.
Yeah.
And then secondly, sorry from the meeting the other day, it could be me, there's a lot of information and exchanges, so forgive me if I've misunderstood. Did you say that there's no changes to any of your beds, or will there be a rebalancing instead and a loss of 45 beds closures, or am I talking at cross purposes about something else?
There's already been some reduction in beds in Horton. We're not planning further bed changes in terms of reduction of medical beds as going forward, unless anything different happening in phase 2. But at this point, those medical beds are at the level. Sorry, those medical beds are at the level you would expect them to be going forward. What the beds I was referring to, where there might be an increase, or is to plan to be an increase, is to accommodate the critical care numbers in the John Ashby.
So that's not an increase. So the ones we lost at the Horton, and you were aware of, well, how will it impact on our side at all?
Those beds have already been removed, and we have been operating, and we continue. In fact, we have a better standard performance in Horton than we do in John Radcliffe. So whilst we obviously need to continue to improve our performance, I think what we're showing is that with the reshaping of the services we've got, we're getting a better result in both in terms of the aiming performance, but actually management of people's care and ambulation.
Just from my understanding, which beds did you say have been reduced then?
There's been a ward change at the Horton, and I was
There's been a ward change at the Horton, and another set of beds have been converted to the other beds haven't been lost, they've been converted to day-based beds.
Okay, so they've still got capacity
Oh,
there,
yes.
and it won't be an impact on the
So we're
service.
treating more patients than we were before the change.
On a different vein, Mr. Chairman, 2 years ago I did deliver a baby to the ambulance was 34 minutes, but I got it there. The point really my concern is that I had 2 people had heart attacks just before Christmas. One was in Shipton and one was in Welford. They both went to Worcester because they said all the other hospitals were full because they were bed blocked. I had an old lady who could have come out weeks after. She should have done worry. By the time they got her out, the house was right. She wasn't fit to live in it, so I put them in a home because you got no other relations. Bed blocking to me seems to be, in my eyes, causing a considerable amount of problems, and I'm not wondering whether it's you or the county or whatever, but I think if we can move people out of hospital, you just said that in 10 days you lose 10 years, which was surprising to me, because I'm still riding a bike, you know what I mean? But I just would like a comment if you could.
absolutely, the actually if we can move people through the pathway, we'd have, you know, this week 150 more beds at our disposal to put people through. The tendency we tend to have is if we have beds, we fill them with people and then more people wait longer. So you're absolutely right about the issue. It affects us in Oxfordshire. We have moved from having the worst performance in the country to at least being about 20 from the bottom in the country. So I think we have seen some benefits from the improvements we put in place, but we've got a lot further to go. And I'm really pleased to hear somebody kind of reflecting that back to us, because I know it feels really counterintuitive when you see pressures in the system. People think what you need is more beds. We don't. We need better systems of supporting people not to come into hospital, which is our ambulatory models, and we need better ways of supporting people to have rehabilitation and come out again, which is entirely what our first phase of bed changes is all about.
I just wonder if this council can help or do anything. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I mean,
It's an issue we're well aware of, Peter, and it's not an easy one to deal with, but rest assured we are doing something on it in terms of looking at the care homes issue with the task and finish group. Chris?
Right. I've been prompted to speak by Val's comment on maternity, because one of the other cross-border issues, which is not represented here today, but I have to deal with, is the cross-border issue with Worcestershire, because we have an equal proportion in the B50, B46, B everything else postcode area, which actually relates to the Alexandra Hospital at Redditch. Now, in my dealings with them, I heard exactly the same argument about maternity cover as we heard a minute ago. We can't get the staff, we've had to close it down, we've had to move out the obstetrics, we've had to do everything else. Now, I think it's important to a lot of people to have reasonably local maternity services, and this is a cross-border issue, and I'll explain why. Because in Diane's presentation, she did slip in that if there was pressure on whatever services there might be in Oxfordshire, there were hospitals in Coventry and Northampton, I believe, was in your presentation, that could actually accommodate them. We seem to be having the same argument at Redditch as we've had at the Hall over getting staff. And they transferred their maternity services to Worcester in a hurry at about 48 hours notice, not so many months ago. Now, if this pattern is going to repeat itself, it's going to have a severe effect on women that need to give birth that live in rural areas. Because if they're going to have to go vast differences, I don't know how far it is to Northampton, but on the odd occasions I go there, it seems to take a day and a half to get there, right? But the situation is that we're going to suddenly find ourselves, if this pattern is reproduced, with a handful of baby-producing units nationwide, far less than the 44 STP areas that we've got, and this is not a satisfactory situation. You know, so I come back to my earlier point. If you can provide certainty of service delivery, then the career doctor will hopefully apply for the jobs at some of the smaller hospitals as well as the major ones. And it seems to me vitally important that we avoid this, you know, women having to go vast distances to give birth, and a few more stories about them giving birth in the car on the way, you know, however.
Comments?
Just quick to respond. So currently, before we had to make the changes, there were 1,400, 1,500 births at the Horton. So that's about 4 or 5 a day. Not all of those needed obstetric input. Obstetrics is a craft specialty. You need to carry on seeing numbers of births in order to keep up your skills. It's a sad fact that for some services there is going to be increasing centralisation. I would make the point that the only bit of the pathway that is being centralised is the birth itself. Yes, that's a really important part, but all all the antenatal care, all the postnatal care can continue to be provided locally. But for some services, for very good clinical reasons, or in the case of obstetrics, both clinical and recruitment reasons, those services are going to have to be centralised. It is not envisaged they'll be centralised, so you only have one birth unit per SDP. If you look in our own SDP, which it covers Buckinghamshire, Buckinghamshire, Oxfordshire, and Berkshire West, we've got 3 obstetric units. Each of the local health economies has got one obstetric unit. So it is not going down to the level of centralisation that you're suggesting. But in the interest of safety, there is a trade-off between access and closeness of facilities to do the birth, and I would stress it's only the birth that we're seeking to make changes to, and safely. So those, that is a fact of life.
And just to add to that, obviously what Andrew's talking about is the obstetric births, but remember mums have the choice to give birth at home or in midwife-led units, so it's not all births. Better that we have a consistent and resilient doctor cover and equipment and SCABU and all of those things you need when you know that mum's going to need it. When you know that mum has a risk of a complex birth, better you know there's 24 hours of all of the things you need at the site when you get there.
Okay. Chris, John.
I don't think you have to be a conservative to get a question answered.
Honest,
We've been indicating for a long time.
my apologies.
Please get fair on this one. Apparently, so is Justin.
Go on, Peter.
I'll give up my place. I do have a question for Gillian, a specific question at the moment, but first on the cross-border issue. A number of people have raised really concerns about whether they will get treated at the court in the future. And I think that's partially the way this booklet is phrased, where it talks about patients might be treated from Warwickshire at the Horton, which I think is perhaps unfortunate. But can I ask, what is your long-term budget showing for treatment for patients from Warwickshire? Are you increasing the budget or decreasing the budget, and does that correspond with Gillian's budget?
Our CCG perspective, we wouldn't have a budget for Warwickshire because Gillian would have the budget for Warwickshire. I assume her answer will be similar to ours, is that our budgets are increasing. They're not increasing in any way speed, the length, the ability of things we can do with the budget, but they are increasing.
Well, I probably didn't put that clearly, but